How's it going, everybody? This is Dustin with Team Conti Sim Performance with the race run replay track tutorial for Kansas Speedway. This is 25 Season 4 Week 2 in the Truck Series. So, got a lot to cover, so we'll get right after it. This run is on the looser setup. I'm not sure which is my favorite yet. That'll be kind of as the week goes on, we discover that. This run started out as just a telemetry verification run. It was only meant to be a couple laps, but it felt good, and you just kind of know when you hit it, and you know, in terms of ride heights and dynamic heights for aero. So I just went ahead and finished out a 30 on it. One and two, first example of how I screw things up sometimes. The middle is not really where you want to be ever. It's kind of no man's land through one and two. You're going to want to be on the bottom or at the wall here for the most part. 3 and 4, the middle actually felt fine. As you can see, it's wide open. However, if you're in the draft and you're tucked up behind somebody's tucked up behind you, you have the draft help, use that opportunity to kind of back your entry up a little bit and save your tires. Right there, something I want to explain here. This first seam, it feels to me, and it was across all setups I worked with, it seems to me that it is more aggressive. It affects the truck more. Like this time, I felt like I got the tire stuck in it like a slot car, and I couldn't turn it down. And I mean, I could have let it come up, I'm sure, but I just couldn't get the truck down. So one big point of emphasis, and let me actually write this timestamp down. One big point of emphasis here is with the seam through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I didn't feel it nearly as much. It's much smoother over there. You need to enter with all 4 below it, or you need to cross it aggressively. If you just dilly-dally with it, it runs like this. You just get kind of hung up on it. Like right there, it just wouldn't, when I crossed it to head down, it wouldn't let me go down, and then when I crossed it to come back up, it was like it hung up there again, and it just kind of held me up the track. So keep that in mind. Cross it aggressively or in or under it. I think it was about this point where I decided, you know what, I'm going to run this out and see what it feels like. And it's probably, yeah, like to say, it's probably one of my favorite setups that I put out for Kansas. Hope it races as fun as it is to just drive. I mentioned it in the Q video, and I'll mention it again here. It's important to wrap the white line. As you start a tight phase here, like lap 8, lap 9, it's about a 7 lap tight phase. it becomes more difficult to hold the line through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, it stays pretty easy to wrap the bottom the entire run. There's 1 and 2. We've got a broadside wind to the left side of the truck. And, I mean, it's only 6 miles an hour, so it's not affecting it that much. But it does kind of go through a little snug phase in 1 and 2. Really easily mitigated with just a feathering of the throttle. If you bomb the corner, hold it wide open, don't hit the wall, but don't hold the bottom, and you feel great about that, you're actually not any faster than you would have been had you just rolled out of the throttle. There's another example of that seam, just messing around with it instead of just owning it, getting across it, you know. Anyway, back to the other point. It felt, there's a couple times in this run, and I'll try and point them out, it felt faster just making it stick and keeping more throttle in it through 1 and 2 through that snug phase. But as I start to slow that down and actually start thinking about the tires, watching my delta, or my my delta bar, my lap was actually, or I would actually gain time by slowing that down. I know this is elementary stuff to most of you, but it's going to apply to somebody, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Anyway, here's an example of crossing the seam with a higher arc, just a more aggressive. That line I'll actually put a little on the right rear, even as the truck is going through this snugger phase. During this lull in the action, I will, it's probably a good opportunity to point out that Kansas, typically, night race becomes a draft fest. Everybody lined up on the top, just waiting for somebody to make a mistake, or somebody try to make a pass on the bottom, and you can just stick it to their outside and train them. This time around, it doesn't feel as much that way, and I'll show you late in this run. After the 30, I go a few more laps just to point out, or just to find out if, you know, the top was going to be better, or what if there was another line that would be better once the tires were worn. The result was not what we've had in the past. In the past, about lap 12, lap 15, maybe a little later in solo car, but it was that late into the run before the top was faster. Now, and I'll point that out later on in this video, the top was not faster at any point. Granted, I don't have other trucks there drafting with me to really maximize the runs down the straightaway that you get, but I wanted to build something that could compete on the bottom, because it does become such a train game on the top. And lap times in solo car, again, this is without draft, so that could absolutely change. But I think we're bringing the best option or possibility to be able to compete running the bottom, and not abandoning that bottom. Also, in seasons past, the line that you run here really determines how your truck is going to wear. With past seasons, running the bottom would wear the truck tight. Running the top, you could bring it back to loose, and you could kind of just control the balance of your truck by choosing which line to run. bottom versus top. I did not feel that as much this time either. In other runs, not in this video. Um, Tried to manipulate the balance, and it all just depended on what my inputs were. I could wear it tight on the top, I could wear it loose on the top, I could wear it tight or loose on the bottom. It really didn't play in as much as it has in the past. So keep that in mind. Um, you know, as the tires wear out, it's back to what I said a couple weeks ago. I don't remember which track it was, but it comes down to where are you comfortable, because wherever you're comfortable, you're going to be the most consistent. You're going to put out the best lap time. If you can be comfortable around the bottom here and make ground, that's where you want to stay. It's best on your tires, and best on your long run pace. But again, if here toward the end, when it starts to lose a little bit of rear grip, center exit, again, this is the looser setup, but once you get to that point, you know, just go where you're comfortable. So we started this run on lap 116. So we're on 18 right here. Pay attention to this lap time, running the top 2, 3, and 4. Lost 2/10. And actually, that lap time is slower than what I hit on lap, I think, 33. Running the bottom. You can see it's starting to free up. Center exit. Watch for the rollout here into one. Yeah, we caught wall. Again, middle is kind of no man's land over here in 1 and 2. Figured I'd try it in 3 and 4. It was much better on 3 or in 3 and 4. All right, we'll get back to I'm going to point out something I've done a couple times here. Coming out of 2, so often in years past, you'll start to get like a really lazy spin or a lazy slide that can snap around pretty quick. I corrected that too soon, and it put me in a position where I had to clutch left again. So it's kind of a double clutched exit, you know, where I'm down, I overcorrect a little there, or not really overcorrect, maybe overreact to the start of the slide. And it was amplified by the fact that I was messing around with that seam again. Don't be afraid to actually hold it down and let it walk to the wall, rather than quickly correct because you feel it start to slide the rear. It's a lot more stable than I thought it would be right here. So again, we'll watch it through. Keep an eye on the throttle as well. You'll see that I kind of figured that exit of 2 out by the end and do a better job of holding it down. Drove that one in too deep. All right, so we get to the point where I kind of, again, I touched on this topic or this point in the Q video, and it's the same thing here. You'll notice that the truck will kind of go through a little tight moment through here. Um, it has done this at Kansas every time that I've been here. The thing that I don't know if it's because the banking's picking up and it's at its peak down here. Um, the thing to watch out for is if you clear that point of that tight where and you progress to where you're at maximum banking over here in the corner, and you have too much wheel in it, it will turn. And it will if you're too tight to the white, or if you have too much wheel in it for where you are on the track, you will eat apron. I do it a couple times, maybe one or two more times in this video. It's something to keep in mind, to anticipate, and be ready for, because it can just creep up and bite you. So the front gripped up, and it put me on a bad trajectory to where it was turn right or eat apron. So we just aproned it. Just tried carrying too much speed there. Wasn't all the way to the bottom. Hit it again. Curious about something here. This yaw. I don't know. That just looks good. Anyway, back to your regular scheduled programming. So I start to realize at this point that here we are, starting lap 30, that I'm over slowing turns 3 and 4, which is also giving me that added rotation to where we're eating apron. Tried to let that apply to 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 it didn't apply. It was still carrying about as much speed as I should. But I start picking up the pace here through 3 and 4 a little bit, and it just grips up. It's solid. So keep that in mind. 3 and 4 is pretty comfortable. Played around with that seam too long. So I'm going to run the top here, and pay attention. We're running 8s, low to mid 8s on the bottom. I run the top here in 3 and 4 so that I can simulate that I'd been running the top to kind of get a good read on the lap time, have the momentum that I normally would. So 98, running the top. At 79 running the bottom. So, I mean, obviously, when I ran the bottom there on that last lap, I didn't have somebody to my outside. I was able to let it drift. The only place I really saw that was going to be a challenge or a hindrance or slow my truck would have been out of 2. Out of 4, I had plenty of stability just to keep it a lane off the wall, and pass or stay to the inside of somebody, as you can see there. So again, I'm sure the top will still be where the majority of the the pack runs, simply because it is so difficult to pass. So like I said, when I started this this week, my goal was to have something that could roll the bottom and still put down the lap times that the top provides. This lap, this is 33 of the run here. It's 31.79, is 2/10 better than we were on 30 in season 2. Again, 10-degree hotter track. So I think we've found something. I think we've landed on something. I hope that it translates to the ability to drive the bottom and make passes, and this is also with me driving it. Like, it's people who like to sit it on the right rear and don't kill speed doing it. You're gonna have a great time with this one, and I look forward to seeing how y'all do this week. Again, if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. Find us in Discord. Other than that, I'm gonna wrap this up. Appreciate you guys for choosing Team Conti Sim Performance, and good luck this week.